If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. If you do what is easy, complain about your situation, your circumstances. If you do what is easy, stand around and be a volunteer victim like everybody else. If you do what is easy, surrender and give up on your dreams, become depressed and bitter and angry. Anybody can do that. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, keep coming back again and again and again. If you do what is hard, approaching strangers, talking to people in shopping malls, get up dressed every day, going out prospecting, knowing some way, somehow, with a spirit of expectation, somebody's out here looking for an opportunity. You can go outside right now and see some pigeons, but you're out hunting for eagles, and they're not common. And if you do that over and over and over again, somebody's going to show up. Just acknowledge what's going on. It's called life. And keep on working on your dream. Continue to keep on knocking, because this is your life. This is what you love. This is your passion. Step back. Don't judge it. If you judge it, judge not yet, lest ye be judged. Why? Because when you judge it, you invest emotion in it, and that emotion could be anger. And guess what? That hurts you. That doesn't hurt anybody else. One doctor said, "The man who angers me killeth me." And then he allowed someone to egg him into an argument on the floor of the National Medical Convention and suffered a massive heart attack. When you're in a state of anger, you have so much acid in your blood, if they withdrew some blood from you and inserted it into a pig, it would die from the acid. So what do you want to take yourself out early for by internalizing things? Shakespeare said, "Nothing is neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so." So judge not according to your appearances, but right judgment, and feel that everything is going to work out for you because you're patient, you're persistent, and you're going to be positive no matter what. Don't allow other things or people or circumstances to determine what your reaction is going to be. I was out to dinner with some people, and we had a waitress that was quite discourteous and rude. And the people around me took an attitude about it. I learned how to observe life. I think that in order to overcome life, you've got to learn how to observe it. Just stand back and watch what's going on and choose not to buy into it. So don't allow people to determine how you are going to respond to them or circumstances. Learn to look at it. A friend of mine, Tom Perkins, handsome, articulate man in his mid-50s. He had a tremendous business, and at the height of his success, someone was killed in his business. He was sued and lost $750,000. Lost his business, lost his family, lost his home, everything. He was devastated, ladies and gentlemen. He started living in his car. He would wash up in a McDonald's across from Howard University on Georgia Avenue in Washington, D.C. He said, "Les, I was so depressed." He said, "I had everything, and then one day I lost it all." He said, "I didn't want to live anymore." He got some sleeping pills, and he took over 35 sleeping pills, and he laid down, folded his hands across his chest, and he said he went to sleep to die. 2 days later, much to his amazement, he woke up. I said, "What happened then, Tom?" He said, "An incredible thing happened." He said he was laying there for a moment. He said, and a voice said to him inside his mind, "It wasn't your life to take." That was one thing. He said, "Since that day, when I get any major challenges, I don't take it on myself personally. I feel that I've got somebody with me." He said, "I'll never leave you nor forsake you." See, whatever you're worried about, if someone call you right now and say, "Listen, you got 2 days to live," I'm telling you, you won't be worried about your bills, ladies and gentlemen. So put things in perspective. Here's something else Tommy said that I think is important. He said that The voice also said to him, if you change your ways, I'll give you far more than you ever lost. Look at your life right now. If you want to keep on getting what you're getting, keep on doing what you're doing. You've got to be willing to change your ways. Your life is working. If you don't like what you have produced, you're a director, you are the star, you wrote this script. You produced this, whatever it is. If it's a hit, you produced it. If it's a flop, you produced it. Take ownership of it and decide to go back to the drawing board and rewrite the script that you are the star of. You have the power to do that. On this day, you can declare that I'm going to change. As you look back on your life, you can decide that I don't like what I produced here and I want higher ground. I want to begin to experience more love. I want to have more adventure in my life. I want something that gives my life a sense of meaning. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been selected to head up a program called Project Life in Chicago, training thousands of kids. And I had the experience, we had our second session this past Monday. And to see these young people when they came in, and to see the young people and the parents and the community volunteers when they went out. One young man from the Cabrini Green housing projects who didn't want to be there, who came up and said, I want you to know I'm so glad to be here. And he said, I'll never be the same again. He said, thank you, Mr. Brown. He said, I just got to go now, but thank you, sir. I'll never be the same again. A letter I got from a young man who was in the Cook County Jail where I work on Monday morning. And this young man will not be out of jail for at least 50 years. At least 50 years. They gave him 100 years. This guy has shot at least 60 people that we know of and killed 10 at least. And this letter he wrote, he said, since listening to your tapes, he said, I have not changed, but I feel a different person in me. Over 70% of these young men are in there for murder. We wanted to have a two-pronged attack where we would train people on the outside and train those that are in the jails, because I believe if you cage them like animals and treat them like animals and they're out on the streets every 22 months, they're going to get out and act like animals and go back in like animals. So we said, let's take an approach. This gives me my life. This might be insane, but I felt so good. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, if we can accept the possibility of that this is the decade of consciousness. That's what I believe that this is. The decade of consciousness, a time where we can begin to create in folks' minds the idea, the possibility that we can create a more humane society, the possibility that we can create more love, communication, and understanding in relationships, the possibility that we can create the kind of respect for diversity and difference in our multicultural society, the possibility that we can begin to develop the mindset to bring out the best in people, to encourage them to achieve their greatness and support them in their dreams, that if we can, in this decade of consciousness, to begin to see and envision that happening, and that we all can play a role, that we were born for such a time as this, that we showed up for this, that we survived 1 out of 9 million sperms, and we have been chosen for this great work. Here's something else to recognize. Wherever you are on the ladder of life, and I was reading in Dr. Norman Vincent Peale's latest book called The Power of Positive Living, which I think is his greatest work. And he has something in there, a section called Comeback Power. Wherever you are in life, ladies and gentlemen, you've got comeback power. I don't care how low you are. I don't care what you have done. I don't care what you have experienced. I don't care how devastated your life might appear to be, the shambles it might be in. There's a power in you that can enable you to be stronger and better than anything that's out here. One man who came to the training, he was not a kid. And I knew he had a drinking problem, and he was looking at me, and I could smell alcohol on him. I said, excuse me, come here, come here, come here. He said, what is it? I said, let me tell you something. I want you to know you've got something in you that's stronger than that poison you're putting in your body. Do you understand me? And he was looking, he was backing up. He said, no. He said, I don't know, man. I said, it is. I said, that's why you're here. Something drew you here. And that which caused you to come, you said you want some help. And you need to be around some people that can help you get in touch with your power, because you know that your life deserves this. See, I think that the reason that we abuse ourselves with drugs and alcohol is that we're trying to numb something in us that's aching us, that's urging us, that's nagging us to do something bigger and better. It can't be because it tastes so good. That when we are deluding ourselves or polluting our minds, it numbs us where we don't have to face reality, because we don't know what we've got going for us. See, once you discover who you are, the truth of knowing who you are will set you free from ever wanting alcohol, from ever wanting any kind of drug that's going to destroy who you are. See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you, ladies and gentlemen. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself. Sometimes I have to pull myself out of bed and say, come on, Les. Things I know I should do, I don't do. Things I shouldn't do, I do. I found that the biggest enemy you have to deal with is yourself. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. You begin to look toward making this your decade, as you begin to look toward making your life different, as you begin to look at yourself, you've got to redefine yourself. Who are you right now? And who must you become in order to create what you want? What has to change about you? What is it that you're doing right now that would be a liability for you? As you begin to look toward the future and take inventory of yourself, what is it about you right now that you've got to leave this behind, because this no longer fits? Looking at where you want to go and the kind of person that you must become, the kind of standards that you have for you, what is it that you must do differently? It makes sense. Unless you change your pattern, unless you change the way you're thinking, unless you change your behavior, you're going to continue to produce the results in your life. See, all of us are winners, but some of us are producing results that we don't want. And so all you have to do is look at your game plan, look at your strategy. How is it that you have been being? What is it that you've been doing to produce this? So you're the director, you're the producer, you're writing the script, you're the star of your life. And as you begin to look at your life, you can decide whether or not it's a smash or whether or not it's a flop. That's in your hands. Look at your life, look at where you want to go. Don't worry about your circumstances. Don't worry about your age. I have a friend who's up in age, over 70, and she wanted to build a multi-million-dollar complex. The name is Dr. Johnny Coleman. Lenders and bankers say, you can't do that, you're too old. She ignored them. That building now stands, ladies and gentlemen, a multi-million-dollar structure. But there are a lot of people who would have listened to that. There are a lot of people that would not have even gotten to that point. They would have talked themselves out of even going down to the bank to ask for it, because they've already said no to themselves. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no. See, 87% of our self-talk is negative. So you've got to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to say yes to your dreams. Why not? Why not me? Don't spend time like most people going through life complaining. You got to learn to let the past go so you can grow. Many people never act on their dreams because they allow their past experiences to determine what their possibilities are. Whatever you've done in the past, that's not a reflection of your possibilities. That's just a reflection of your consciousness. That's just a reflection of your development and your growth. The future is unfolding for you right now. The future is unlimited for you right now. No one knows where you can go. No one knows what you're capable of or what's possible for you. You don't even know that. I had no idea, ladies and gentlemen. No one could have convinced me that I was able to do this. I never forget, I was speaking in Detroit, and a high school friend of mine saw me afterwards, and he was backstage. He said, "I can't believe it's the same person." And I thought for a moment, and I said, "It's not. The person you know, he's gone." We have the power to change our personal history, changing the direction of our lives, changing our thoughts, changing where we want to go, exploring new horizons. I think that it's very important that you start trusting yourself. Listen to yourself. Listen to that still small voice within you. Don't try and make everything logical. There's some things about life that defies logic, that you just can't explain how the outcome is going to be. That once you begin to trust yourself and your ideas and your instincts, life takes on a whole new meaning, because now I want you to do that feeling that you are led. Just feel, I am led. I remember the worst speech I had ever given in my life. I let someone exploit a fear that I had. For years, I had a tremendous inferiority complex because I'm not college educated. And this person knew this. And she said, "Let me write this speech for you. You're going to speak at Ohio State University. Those people are very educated there, and they're going to know when you make grammatical errors, and they're going to know because of the substance of your speech that you are not literate. I care about you. I don't want you to embarrass yourself." So this person proceeded to write a speech for me. I had a speech in my mind, but this person was stronger than I was negatively than I was positive about my own thoughts. And I gave my power away. With my permission, I allowed this person to guide me to do something that I really didn't want to do. But I didn't feel enough inner strength and conviction about my skills as a speaker and the message that I had to bring to stick by my guns. And I got up there at the Ohio Union, and I read this straight speech and did not move and did not take my eyes off the page, because I'm not accustomed to reading. And after I finished, some people gave me a standing ovation because I read it extremely well, and I was very tense and I was very nervous. Ladies and gentlemen, don't give your power away. You don't need anybody to approve your dream. It was given to you. If they can't see it, it's because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. Hold it, nourish it, cultivate it, work on it. It's yours. It's your baby. Work on it until it comes into fruition. I gave away my power, and I said, I'm not going to do that no more. Here's something else for those who make it today. Do what you know is right. Treat people like you want to be treated. Don't try and take any shortcuts. Don't try and cheat. Pay your dues up front. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, what goes around comes around. You can pay now, or you will pay double later. So do the right thing. There might be a tendency sometimes, because of the negative part of our consciousness and our own programming, for us to want to say, well, I just do it this time. It won't matter. Won't nobody know. Ladies and gentlemen, everything matters. And you know you're somebody. You know. I'd rather lose out on my dream doing the right thing than to cheat trying to make a shortcut to get to my goal. I want to be able to look myself in the mirror. And that's what you want to do. There's no saying, judge a man not by what he does, but by that he doesn't have to do. And to judge the true quality of a man is what he'll do when nobody's looking. See, there's some good out there for you in the universe that has your name on it. And nobody can get your good. It has your name on it. They can't take your stuff. It's your stuff. So when you know that whatever you're seeking, it's also seeking you, you don't worry. You don't run scared. You don't think somebody's going to take it from you. You listen to your inner voice and you always take the high road. There will be the tendency, the natural inclination to take the low road. You must resist that. Here's something else I encourage you to do if you want to make it today. Keep your agreements. Keep your agreements that you make and establish a network of people who will also do that. Establish a network of people in your life that you can count on, that will be there for you when you need them, and you be there for them. Here's the other thing as you're working on your dream. A lot of people have been calling me saying, hey, man, I read about you in Ebony. Boy, you're lucky. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Here's something else. 3 P's to have in your life. In working on your dream and doing your life work, you must be patient, persistent, and positive no matter what. I used to be a door-to-door salesman. I had X number of TVs. I had a minimum amount that I knew I had to sell every day in order to provide for my mother, who was ill at the time, who had lost her job at the M&M cafeteria because of arthritis. And I said, I'm going to go door to door, and sometimes I would not come home until 1 o'clock at night, knocking on people's door, people closing. What do you want? Would you like to buy a nice working month's television set, no money down? No. What about an Emerson TV? No. Thank you very much. Do you know anybody else that would be interested? No. Thank you very kindly. Knock on another. Hello. Would you like to buy a nice working television set, no money down? No, get away from our door. Thank you very kindly. Do you know anybody else would be? Yeah, my cousin, he lives 2 doors down. Thank you very kindly. I tell him you sent me. When I heard your cousin told me that you wanted to buy a television set, told me to come here and talk to you, we got a special discount for you. Yes, come in, I'm interested. I would just keep right on. I would not go home until I did it. It's an interesting thing, ladies and gentlemen, that when we put ourselves in a situation where we say we're going to do it, it puts you in another zone where the universe responds to you. When you have that kind of consciousness, see, the universe responds to the man or woman that refuses to be denied, because that is your commitment. That business that you want, that book you want to write, that dream that you have of controlling your destiny, that is yours. That power to create that and to manifest that, that is yours. That's available to you. But you've got to be willing to stand there and face disappointment, not have support, be lonely, doubt yourself sometimes, be rejected again and again and again, become bankrupt if necessary, again and again and again, and refuse to turn around until life gives it up. Nothing can resist a person that has that kind of commitment. The people that have made a difference on the planet. When a John F. Kennedy said, we will go to the moon in the next decade, he spoke it. That was a commitment, and people shared that vision. People bought into that. We've had all kinds of examples in history where people have made declarations, who have committed their lives to bring about a difference. There are people who are taking a stand today against hunger. I guarantee you it will be a part of our past at some point in time. Someone took a stand against polio. It no longer plagues us as it once did, because someone said, it is my commitment to eradicate it from the face of the earth. Someone made the commitment. The reason that we're here and enjoying the democracy that we have, someone made a commitment that whatever is required, if it means that I die. I remember Paul Robeson, here I stand, for I can do no other. And that's how you must be. Commitment means standing up for your life. It means honoring yourself. It means beginning to say and to see and recognize your alignment and oneness with the universe, and that you are a channel for life to express through. And we short-circuit it with anger. We short-circuit it with fear. We short-circuit it with envy. We short-circuit it by being lazy or apathetic or giving up easily. Why? We say, oh, it's too hard, it's too hard. We don't challenge our spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing as powerful as the human spirit. You can't destroy it. You can pervert it, but you can't destroy it. I was reading Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. What a powerful book. I'm reading it now for the 7th time. And he gives so many graphic examples of the power of the human spirit. And so what are some of the things that can fortify us and give us the kind of inner strength that will allow us to forward ourselves into the future by manifesting our commitments. Number one, commitment means in some cases going back to school, getting some training, sitting up in classes with people younger than you, putting yourself in a position where you don't know and that is awkward and uncomfortable, but because of your commitment to develop yourself or to go back to school to get a high school diploma or to get a college degree, that it doesn't matter, feeling dumb and saying, what am I doing here, sitting up in some boring class? Commitment could mean a lot of things. It could mean that you begin to go back. You got to back up sometimes. It means to back up and not give up, to regroup, back up and regroup and come back again. Because life has waylaid you, because you got knocked down. Why is it that most people don't pursue their dreams or don't do better than what they're doing if they're capable of doing it? I think that many of us don't go the next step because we don't know what to do yet. And I say that the reason that we don't even explore the possibility of what to do is because subconsciously we don't believe that it can happen for us, and we don't believe that we deserve it. So here's what I'm suggesting. How much time do you spend working on you? How much time do you spend every day working on your dream? In the last 90 days, how many books have you read? In the last year, what new skill or knowledge have you acquired? What kind of investment have you made in you? So I'm saying that as you begin to look at where you want to go, if you want to make it today, and things are changing so fast you have to literally run to stand still, I'm saying that you've got to make some conscious effort to begin to work to develop you. Here's something else. Most people are not living their dreams because of fear, ladies and gentlemen. I was in Columbus, Ohio yesterday speaking for a particular Ohio department. Young lady named Karen who greeted me, who organized the event. Very talented, very skillful. And she was talking about she wanted to become involved in the consulting business. I said, why aren't you doing it? I said, you have the abilities. I said, you're not here because they like you. You're here because you're doing the job. You're making things happen. And she came up with all kind of ideas, but finally she said, I guess I can't see myself doing it. I guess I'm afraid. Fear, limited vision, and lack of self-esteem is what keep most people doing things they don't want to do. I flew from Columbus, Ohio to Denver, Colorado to a major communications company. And the person that picked me up at the airport told me about the fact that the company was planning on having a major downsizing. And they offered some of the employees there an early retirement, and some of them will earn as much as $300,000. And they said, this is the last time that you can take this offer. If you don't do it, when we have the downsizing, you might be among those who will lose their jobs, and all you will get is your severance pay. And only 50% of the people who were eligible to take the $300,000 took it. The others were afraid to take a chance on themselves. The others couldn't see themselves beyond that company. They couldn't see life after that company. The same reason that people stay in relationships where they're abused or they're unhappy or it's unfulfilling. They can't see themselves beyond that relationship. They can't see themselves enjoying life without that person. They think that this is all that they can do. The same reason that people get stuck at a certain level in life. They can't see things being better for them. And they think that this is it and this is all they deserve. This is all they've ever seen. It's been passed on to them. And they think that this is it for them. Oh, no. I was looking what Dr. Blanton, Smiley Blanton, who is a colleague of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, what he said about fear. He said, fear is the most subtle and destructive of all human diseases. Ladies and gentlemen, fear kills dreams. Fear kills hope. Fear put people in the hospital. Fear can age you. Fear, ladies and gentlemen, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself that you're capable of doing, but it will paralyze you. and it seemed like you're in a hypnotic spell. And I ask you a question, what is the benefit? What's the benefit of allowing fear to hold you back? What's the benefit of giving up on yourself, of not stepping out on life and taking life on? What is the benefit for you? What's the plus in that? Many of us have genius within us. We have ideas. We use it for the company. We put in long hours, 60, 70 hours a week. We'll break our backs for the company. But when it comes to us, when it comes to using our genius in our own behalf, taking a chance with our own creativeness, acting on our own dreams and ideas, somewhere along the line, we get paralyzed. We find some reason not to do it. Oh, I did that. I'm not as good as they are. I don't have their education. I felt inferior because I never had a college education. So I felt inferior. I thought people with college education were the most intelligent people in the world. And I felt inferior and intimidated by them. So I wouldn't want to speak before people that had more education than I did. What? Come on, Les, you can do that. Oh, no, I can't. Les, you're a good speaker, man. You can just communicate with people, period. There's just some things I just don't know. And can I pass? Get somebody else. I got a friend, man. This guy has a master's degree. He's real good. Get him. But I'm not the one to come speak to that group. See, I didn't know what I had in my hands. And fortunately, I had somebody around me who saw what I had and was willing to work with me until I could see it too. See, that's what many times we have to have. Somebody could look beyond our faults and see our needs and hold that vision until we are able to capture that vision ourselves. How do we handle some fears? I was talking with my friend, Pat Johnson. Here's one thing she said. If you got a real major fear, she said, take a deep breath and see yourself strong enough and more than able to handle that fear, whatever it is. Everybody take a deep breath. Whatever that feels, just feel that you have the strength and the power and the capacity to handle it. Another friend of mine named Ron Weiner, he says, when I'm confronted with a fear, I just practice the art of looking beyond the fear. I go behind it and see it already completed, see it already resolved. And then I carry myself accordingly as if it already is taken care of. That dispels the fear for me. Another friend of mine by the name of Jack Wilson said, when I experience fear, I think about when I was in Vietnam and what I handled back then, and I look at what I'm dealing with right now. And the fact that I survived that, the fact that I had other kinds of situations that were close calls or that I was overwhelmed with fear and I came through it, then I look at this and says, this is nothing here. And we've all had that experience, what Jack had. How many of you had some situations that you were in that you were overwhelmed with fear? You didn't know how you're going to come out, how you're going to survive. And you did. You survived and you didn't die. So what you got to do, whatever that was, whatever that state of consciousness, whatever that self-confidence that you had, however you stood up within yourself. Here's what we know. You survived. Here's what we know. You're still here. You didn't die. Hello. You did not die. You didn't die. You hear that? You didn't die. You're here right now. You got it and you handled that fear. You kicked it out of there. Remember that play Color Purple? I remember when Albert told the girl she couldn't go with Shug. She was afraid. She felt incompetent. And he said, where you going? You can't talk. Shug can talk. You ugly. You dumb. Shug got class. You ain't got nothing. You're going. You ain't gonna make it. You're gonna fail. She said, look here, I might be ugly. I might be dumb. I might can't talk. She said, but I'm still here. And so as you begin to look at the fears in back of you, you came through those fears and you're still here. See, that's a testament about how powerful you are. And so whatever the volcano is, you have the capacity to take that volcano on, the capacity to jump in it and find your true identity. Here's another thing that keeps a lot of people from taking on the volcanoes and jumping into the challenges that they're confronted with. The fear of making mistakes or not feeling good enough. Guess what? You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Guy said this, and it's true. He said, the person who has never made a mistake hasn't done anything. If you're going to make some mistakes, if you want to do something out here, you're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to be criticized when you come out into the arena called life. You're going to feel awkward and stupid and dumb sometimes. It goes with the territory, but it's okay. What's important is that you bring your stuff out here. Are you good enough? Prepare yourself. See, there's no substitute for competency. A positive attitude won't get it. Being enthusiastic won't get it. So you got to prepare yourself. You've got to develop yourself. You've got to practice. You've got to work. You've got to do your homework. You got to do your research. See, a lot of people have a yes, I can attitude, but a no, I can't aptitude. And competency builds confidence. And confidence feeds into competency. See, the better you become, the more confident you feel. And the more confident you feel, the better you want to become. You realize that you have no ceiling, that you can better whatever you've done so far. You can beyond that. You don't become cocky and arrogant, feeling that you've already arrived, as most people have. And that's why they've settled for less than what they rightly deserve in life, because they feel they have arrived and they say, well, I can rest now. I can rest on my laurels now. I've made it. No. Long as you're breathing, you've got some more work to do. There's something else for you to achieve. The publisher of USA Today said that unless you've made some major mistakes in life, you haven't started living yet. So a lot of people, if you've never made any major blunders, made some major mistakes, lost some serious money, taken some serious risks, you haven't started living yet. You don't call that living, not rocking the boat, going through life quietly, tiptoeing safely to an early grave. No. You got to take some chances. You want to bring some adventure to your life. See, a lot of people, because they don't want to make any mistakes, it takes us to the next level. A lot of people don't want to fail. Fear of failure, fear of success, and guess what else? Fear of the unknown. I saw a guy last week, came up to visit me, haven't seen him for years. Bob Boyd from Columbus, Ohio. Bob Boyd introduced me to motivational tapes, introduced me to a lot of motivational speakers and positive thinking. Bob Boyd, that I know has been involved, personally I know, and I've been involved in business deals with him. Bob has had at least 30 failures that I know, 30 business failures since I've known him since 1972. Incredible. So I wanted to hear this deal that Bob was bringing me. Les, I've got to talk to you. So he came in the traditional Bob Boyd fashion. Hello, Les, how you doing? Bob said, Les Brown, I've got a deal. You know, you get exposure to a lot of people. Man, I've got a deal. I'm thinking, does he want me to join Amway? What is this? Man, I've got something going. Man, this thing, man, Les, it's a money machine. Tell me about it, Bob. But here's what was going on in my mind. Bob didn't mention anything about all the losses, deals we'd lost some money on. It never came up in conversation. It was like, this is the first deal he ever brought me. I said, what courage? You know what Winston Churchill said about courage? He said, courage is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So you want to courageously hold on to your dream and not lose enthusiasm. See, Bob has not internalized failure. Things just didn't work out the way he wanted them to work out. He's still looking for his pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Les, let me tell you something, man. You've got to see this deal. With the things you're doing, you're now on PBS. Les, you'll make a fortune. Man, I just can't wait to tell you about it. I said, tell me, Bob, tell me. He said, now explain to me what I just told you. I said, I don't know what it is, but I want to do it. I didn't even know. So I like the fact that Bob has not lost his fire. Bob is still hungry. Bob still sees his dream. Bob is still searching for a way to make it happen. He doesn't care about people talking about it. Man, he's never kept a job. Guys had 15 or 20 different jobs, all these business deals. Bob has turned a deaf ear to that. A guy in Los Angeles, all over the front page of the newspaper, he just passed the bar after taking it 48 times. He had more than enough reason and excuses not to take it. His son has a law firm. He could have been a legal assistant, a clerk. And people all of a sudden used to laugh at this guy. He was a laughing stock. Are you taking the bar lately? People will do that too. You know, people talk about John Kennedy Jr. failing the bar. Did you read in the newspaper that he passed? I didn't see that, but did they make a bigger deal about him passing as they did when he failed? No, you know why? People like to see you fail. They like to see that. People are like that. I don't know why it's set up like that. I was on the expressway. Traffic was jammed up. You know what was happening? It was an accident. But people pull over to the side to get out of their car to go look, to see somebody else's suffering. That's why talk shows are so popular. So people like to hear other people's misery, get it caught up in that. Then they go magnify it in their own lives because that's all they focus on. Bob Boyd went to conquer his volcano like that gentleman who decided it doesn't matter how many times I fail. I'm going to courageously pursue it. I don't care what people say. I don't care what they think. This is something that I want that gives my life meaning and value. You got a volcano like that in you somewhere.
When I think about the 3 pillars of something that would be your anchor, a foundation to drive you into the future, to live a big dream, to live a big life, what you think about, you bring about. You know, as a man thinketh, so is he. Dr. Carter G. Woodson said that if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. If there's no door, his very nature will demand one. And I think that in many cases, governments and religious institutions have really unwittingly crush the dreams and aspirations and the visions that people had of themselves. Not all, but a lot of them. And I think it's incumbent upon the individual to take responsibility, to develop yourself, to expand your mind, your vision, to seek out experiences. You know, Helen Keller said life should be a daring adventure. It's boring. And start to dream. What do you want? What do you really want for your life? I remember going to Auschwitz and walking down the halls in the Nazi German concentration camps and seeing the pictures of men and women who had dreams. These people were exterminated. And one of the things that I heard in my mind when I reflected on a book written by Viktor Frankl, who was there, he said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. And he talked about the people who were able to survive the inexpressible cruelties of Nazism, those who either believed in God or had someone that they loved that they were determined to see, or some cause bigger than themselves. And in my case, my goal was to buy my mother a home. That was my big dream. And that caused me to read things and to listen to things to fuel my imagination, and then to develop my skills to becoming a voice of influence. And the other thing that's important is creating a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. And it started with a man, Mr. Washington, who said, a high school teacher, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. It could start with one person, and then it goes from there. Associating with people who share your values, associating with people, like-minded people who have dreams, who have goals that they're working on, and being in that community. Studies indicate that one goose can fly 40% further in formation with other geese than can ever fly by itself. In fact, I'm thinking about a scientific study where they exposed some rats to electronic shock, and after they increased it, it killed them instantly. But then they put these rats in groupings with other rats, and then what happened was that they continued to increase the shocks of these rats, and they increased it over 10 times more. It took far more to kill them than when it took with just one. And so there's something about being in a community of people who share your dream, who hold you accountable, who challenge you, who call you out, who can see what you can't see that you have within you, inspire you to step up. Ebony Magazine, the late John H. Johnson, who started that with a $500 loan from his mother, he said something in his book called Making It Against All Odds. There's no defense against an excellence that meets a pressing public need. And I suggest to you, one, work on yourself. To me, I think there are 3 pillars of what's required in order to carve out your place in this global economy. There are many steps, but there are 3 that I think that's indispensable. One is working on your mind. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The second is of having a mindset and willing to discipline yourself, to make the sacrifice, to engage in ongoing self-study for self-growth and development, developing your communication skills. I can hear Mr. Washington now say, Mr. Brown, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Nelson Mandela said, if you speak from your mind, you speak in a language that a man can understand. But when you speak from your heart, you speak in his language. And so my goal in teaching people how to create mass appeal, how to change lives, that you have to change yourself. It starts with you. And then you begin to see from your experience how you can begin to impact and influence others and be a voice of change. And that ability really will allow you to carve out a place for yourself in the marketplace. And the methods and the techniques, the simplicity of how you language what you say. Einstein said that genius is the capacity to take the complicated and make it simple. When you are creating change and mass appeal, keeping it simple, but being the message that you bring and loving it and standing in your power, and realize that you're here for a reason. I believe to make a difference. I believe to do great work. I believe to live a life, as Jim Rohn said, when you live your life, he said, your life can be either an example or it's a warning of what not to do, or an example of what to do and what's possible. 85% of them reach their goals because of their attitude, 15% because of their aptitude. Now, To me, that was big because I was in special education. I was labeled educable mentally retarded. So I said, whoa, that means I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. That if I have a winner's attitude, that I've got a shot, that I could make it, that I don't have to live a life of being average. I wanted to live a life of meaning, of purpose. Being adopted, I wanted to do something for my mother. And so by listening to motivational messages and reading on a regular basis, it really taught me the value of using your time to work on yourself, to develop yourself, to really restructure your belief system for what was possible for you. It really expanded my vision of myself. And so to me, that's what it means about mass appeal, because I was working on myself. Then I started sharing it with others, and I noticed a difference in them. And I shared with them the things that I was doing because they saw the difference in me. And it's been said that a career is something you love so much you do it for nothing. So as I talked with and shared with my friends what I was doing and what was possible for them, I eventually evolved into this life of where I am. And as a result, I carved out a market for myself. And because this is my passion, this is what I've spent the majority of my life doing, I've developed a level of expertise, a level of strength and power and reputation in this area that created a demand for myself. To me, one of the most important things and the first step in changing lives is to have a program for yourself. When I started on this path, that was what my goal was to change me, given my circumstances. I think that, psychologists say that we create a mental blueprint between the ages of 1 and 5, that between that time, we determine what's available for us and what's not available for us. And so, given my circumstances, being born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, I became interested in a path of developing myself. I remember shining the shoes of Mr. Sidursky, this man that my mother worked for, very wealthy on Miami Beach. She cleaned his home and she cooked for the family and kept the children. And he listened to motivational messages. Unbeknownst to me, that was programming my mind, and it created a thirst within me to get on this path. I remember listening to Earl Nightingale, who said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. And so to me, reading became an out. It became a tool that I used to develop myself. And not just reading for enjoyment, but reading for personal growth, reading to look at those things that I read and to apply them in my lives. And I would read sometimes at night from 60 or 100 pages a night, sometimes a whole book. And then I would underline the book and I would think about them. I would memorize them, and then I would apply them. I would try them out.